Spider-Man No Way Home is the movie of the year, so I'm going to give you guys my top 10 favorite moments from the movie. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going through my favorite moments from Spider-Man No Way Home. It goes without saying, this is going to be a spoiler-filled video, so if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, definitely go watch the movie, then come back and make sure to watch this video. And before I give you guys my favorite moments from this movie, make sure to hit that like button, comment your favorite moments from the film down below, and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future Marvel videos. I'll be covering Hawkeye, and I have a ton of Spider-Man and Marvel content up right now. So coming in at number 10 for me is going to be the arrival of Daredevil in this movie. Now, it had been speculated that Matt Murdock was going to show up, and I absolutely loved his reveal. You see his cane hit the ground, and then he sits down, and you see the iconic look with the red glasses. The theater went pretty crazy. I know my girlfriend Cam loves the show Daredevil, so she was way about that. I haven't finished Daredevil. I'm actually working my way through the show right now, so I didn't go as crazy, but it was still a really cool moment. And the moment where the Brit comes through the window, and he catches it before Spider-Man can, and he's like, I'm a really good lawyer. It's an awesome moment, and it got the theater going, but it also shows that Matt Murdock's Daredevil is coming back in future MCU projects. It's a very well done cameo. Coming in at number 9 for me is going to be when Tobey grabs the glider that Tom is about to use to kill Green Goblin. So at the end of this movie, Tom Holland has this rage built up as he wants to take it all out on Green Goblin as he killed Aunt May. So he's wailing on Green Goblin, literally beating the man to a pulp, and he's about to kill him with Goblin's own glider. So when Tom draws back and he's about to stab him, enter Tobey, who grabs the glider, and it's just a very powerful moment because obviously we see them fight in the original movie and seeing how Harry Osborn wanted to kill Spider-Man so much. So he's seen that rage firsthand, but also it's powerful because it's the wiser Spider-Man kind of passing on a legacy to the younger Spider-Man. Number 8 for me is going to be when the Spider-Men are bonding before the final fight at the Statue of Liberty. Now this entails a bunch of different quips, especially when Andrew is cracking Tobey's back. That just makes me laugh so hard, which by the way, Andrew stole the show here. I mean, he just fully commits, and you can tell he had missed playing Spider-Man so much. And the moment where Andrew says, I've always wanted brothers, you gotta love that. It shows the Spider-Man bonding. Another hilarious bit from this is when they talk about the villains they fought, and Tobey was like, yeah, I fought this weird alien with black goo. And Tom's like, no way, I fought aliens too, on Earth and in space. And then Andrew's like, I wish I could fight aliens. I'm just kind of lame. And then Tobey's like, you're not lame, you're amazing. You are amazing. And it's like, oh, the Amazing Spider-Man. Seeing them bond and grow a connection, it's one of the best moments in the movie. Number 7 for me is going to be the final swing at the end of this movie when Tom Holland has finally become Spider-Man. He's living on his own, and he created his own suit, which, by the way, is the GOAT Spider-Man suit. It blends traits of both Tobey and Andrew's suits while also having a lot of comic accuracy. It just looks super clean, and it's cool to know that he actually made it. He wasn't given it, and it wasn't created by Tony Stark technology. His swing at the end of this movie just feels like the start of something new, and it's setting up multiple films for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to finally be that New York web-slinging Spider-Man that we've been missing in the MCU. Number 6 for me is going to be the Antmays Death scene. I kind of broke this up into 2 parts. You'll see another part come up later on the list. And she gets up after she's been hit by the Goblin glider, and she says, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. And then she collapses, and Tom's acting just fully sells the scene. Aunt May's like, yeah, I just need to rest. And he's like, okay, we'll rest, we're fine, let's go, Aunt May. And then she goes cold, she's just sitting there. He's like, wake up, May. May? We gotta go, May. And then he starts to break down. Tom Holland's acting here is top-notch, and like I've said in prior videos, it's the best we've seen him in the MCU. And then Happy Hogan drives up, and you just see his face, and that is when you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna send me over the edge. When he gets out of the car, and he goes, Peter! And his voice yells, and you just hear the score swell. It hits you right in the feels. It rips your heart out right in front of you. And for that reason, it's one of the most impactful death scenes in the MCU. So we're getting into the top 5. Make sure to hit that like button, comment your favorite moments down below, subscribe, notification bell. But coming in at number 5 for me is going to be the SpiderSense scene in the movie when it basically shifts into a next level. What I mean by this is all the villains are in the apartment. Doc Ock just got fixed essentially so that he has regained control over the tentacles, and then it all freezes and we just see Peter go like this. The sound starts to fade out. He's having a SpiderSense moment. It's very prolonged. And he turns and looks at Norman and shoots a web at him. And then we see Willem Dafoe's face go from Norman to Goblin. Norman's on sabbatical, honey. That line is so great. And seeing Goblin enter the villainous stage and him beating down Spider-Man, and when he's just sitting there eating the punches from Tom Holland's Spidey with a laugh on his face, that is fantastic. This obviously leads up to the death of Aunt May. This is the true turning point in the movie where it's taken to the next level, and it further cements Goblin as one of the most terrifying Marvel villains. Number 4 for me is going to be when all of the Spider-Men are swinging leading up to the final battle. There's a gorgeous shot of them where they go up by the moon, and then they all land one by one, posing on the Statue of Liberty. It is the most iconic shot from this movie. It's one that needs to be put on a poster, and it will be hanging on my wall eventually, hopefully. It's something we never thought would happen, and we finally got to see it in this movie. You gotta love it. Number 3 for me is going to be the rain scene from this movie. This is kind of the part 2 of the Antmays Death scene, as we see her death, and then there's a little bit of a fade to black, and then it cuts to a shot of the rain, and we see Aunt May's bag, and it pans up to Peter, and we just see him there destroyed, devastated, at the lowest of lows. There's rain pouring down. He's got a bloodied and beat up face. He's lost everything. He never thought that he would get to this point. He's lost his family, his mother essentially, and it's gut-wrenching. This is where we see that revengeful seed planted in Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and then there's a gorgeous shot of him watching a news broadcast by J. Jonah Jameson, and it's a shot of Tom Holland's Spider-Man from behind, and J. Jonah's talking about devastation and destruction and loss. It just hits different, especially with Michael Giacchino's score. It's the best piece of music, I think, from this film, and it's an absolutely crucial moment for Tom's Peter Parker in the MCU. My runner-up for my favorite moment from Spider-Man No Way Home is the arrival of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and then Tobey Maguire's right after. At first, I was really shocked that Andrew actually came through the portal because I thought they were going to save the arrival of these two characters for like a final battle moment and it would be huge, but they ended up having a much larger role than I anticipated. Ned is fooling around with the portal trying to find Tom's Peter, and then out of an alley runs Andrew and he enters and rips his mask off. The theater goes nuts. He has some great hilarious bits where Zendaya's MJ is like, "Prove you're Spider-Man," and he jumps up on the walls just hanging there. He crawls over and gets a cobweb, and then she's like, "Well, do you have an ID?" And he says, "I don't necessarily carry one around on me. That kind of defeats the whole anonymous superhero thing." And then literally 2 seconds later, they open another portal. Toby comes through. The theater's even louder, I might argue. He's wearing normal street clothes, and then he says the same line Andrew says about defeating the whole anonymous superhero thing. And then they have a great face-off where they do the same moves. History is made in this moment as we see the past two Spider-Men in this film, and all of our theories came true. They showed up, and they have a much more significant role than I thought. It's not just that nostalgia, which we're going to talk about here in a second. They have crucial moments that are pivotal to Tom Holland's character arc as Spider-Man. This is definitely the most crowd-pleasing moment in the movie, and I absolutely adore it. But my personal favorite scene or moment in this entire movie is the first time we see all three Spider-Men on screen together. Tom is defeated. He's obviously grieving over the loss of Aunt May, and he's very upset and starting to be filled with rage. Toby and Andrew come down, and they try and talk to him. Andrew's like, "Hey, I know what you're going through," and Tom cuts him off. He's like, "Don't tell me that. You don't know what I'm going through." And then Toby has a great moment where he's like, "I lost my Uncle Ben. That night, I went and I found the man who killed him, and it didn't make things better." And they're having this really heartfelt discussion, and then Andrew opens up about Gwen, and that's the best acted moment in the movie, I think. Is so sold just through Andrew's facial expressions, and the tears swell. But what's really great about this moment is we see him talk about what happens after, and how he stopped pulling his punches and really got filled with rage. But these two have a massive impact on Peter, as Peter lost his family, but he finds himself through the other two Spider-Men. It's particularly powerful when he says, "When Aunt May died, she told me with great power," and then it pans into Toby's face and he goes, "Comes great responsibility." And then Andrew and Toby are like, "Uncle Ben told us the night he died." So it's really impactful, even though Andrew's Uncle Ben never said "with great power comes great responsibility." He kind of paraphrased that in his movie. Nonetheless, this is a very impactful moment, and it's the first time we see these Spider-Men interact on screen, so history is made, but it shows that Spider-Man has support in his other two Spider-Men from other universes. And it also shows that these two are going to have a bonding connection that's going to go beyond cash grab nostalgia. All of them come together and they have a great bond that really sells this movie and fully allows for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to become Spider-Man instead of Spider-Boy. I could have talked about many more moments from this film, and I'm curious what your favorites are, so let me know in the comments down below. But that's going to do it for my personal top 10 favorite moments from No Way Home. Make sure to hit the like button. Again, drop your favorite moments in the comments down below. Let's talk spoilers down there. Subscribe and hit that notification bell for all the Marvel, Hawkeye, and Spider-Man content that I have coming on the channel. Lots of videos coming through the end of the year. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.